There's a box in your kitchen cupboard, about $2 at the grocery store, and if you shake that powder onto a patch of crabgrass on a hot afternoon, the crabgrass will be brown inside 2 days. That part is real. The old groundskeepers were doing it before the lawn store had an aisle for it. But 3 things about that powder got left out, and the third one is the one that matters. Because the powder is not what kills crabgrass for good. The thing that does costs you nothing, and that window is closing right now. It's baking soda. Plain baking soda, the orange box down on the baking aisle, or the store brand sitting next to it makes no difference at all. I'm Garry Strickland. What I bring you is old-timer lawn knowledge, the plain and patient methods the old groundskeepers used to keep grass thick on nothing but a mower and a coffee can of seed, gathered from the accounts of how those lawns were actually kept, and told the way a neighbor tells it over the fence. Simple, cheap, and nothing to sell you but the truth. The grass hasn't changed, the marketing has. So pull up a chair. Sodium bicarbonate is the proper name for what's in that box, and what it does to a plant is dry it out. It starts the second it lands on a wet leaf. It pulls the moisture right back out of the tissue, the leaf browns from the edges in, and inside of a day or two, the whole patch has gone the color of a paper bag. Now, here's the part the old fellas worked out with nothing but their eyes. Look at how your good grass is built. Bluegrass, fescue, ryegrass, they all grow up. Narrow blades standing on end, so a powder sprinkled over the top of them slides right down and lands on the dirt. Crabgrass does the opposite. It sprawls. It lies out flat from the middle like a hand with the fingers spread, wide leaves turned up at the sky. Out of everything growing in your yard, it is the easiest thing in the world to hit. One thing though, a crabgrass leaf sheds water, so dry powder blows off a dry plant. The leaf has to be wet when you dust it. So that's the trick, and it does work, but it works a whole lot narrower than anybody shows you, and the first thing they leave out is the reason folks write in to tell me it did nothing at all. Age. The age of the crabgrass when you hit it. Researchers at the University of Florida ran this properly and published it in a journal called Weed Technology back in 2015. They tested plain sodium bicarbonate, and they tested a store product built around it against crabgrass at 3 different stages of life. On the babies, crabgrass with 1 or 2 leaves on it, they got 70% control or better in the greenhouse 7 days in. That's a real result. Then they tried it on crabgrass with 3 or 4 leaves on it, nothing worth counting. Then on crabgrass that had started branching out sideways, which is what most of the crabgrass in your yard is doing right now in late August. Nothing again. Not one treatment got above 70% at those older stages or past that first week at any stage. And out in the field, in real dirt with real weather on it, none of it reached what they'd call acceptable control. So the powder is not a miracle, my friend. It is a narrow tool with a narrow window, and knowing which week to move and which week is wasted effort is most of this whole game. That right there, knowing which week, is the difference between the men who kept the cemeteries and the ball fields green and the rest of us out here guessing. Hardly a word of it ever got written down. Somebody finally wrote it down. It's called The Old Ways, 50 Forgotten Lawn Secrets from America's Greatest Groundskeepers, the small, cheap, patient tricks those fellas used over a lifetime of keeping grass thick, researched and set down in order before they were gone for good. Soil, weeds, the weekly habits, the yearly rhythm, and the fixes for when things go wrong. Written for a fellow with a mower and a hose, not a turf crew. One book on the shelf against a $40 bottle you buy again every spring. That's the kind of math the catalogs stopped doing for you. Now, go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. Now, the second thing that got left out is heavier than the first, because this one costs people their good grass. That powder does not know what it landed on. Sodium bicarbonate is a sodium salt, and sodium burns whatever it touches. Fescue, bluegrass, ryegrass, the clover, the volunteer petunia, all of it. In that same Florida work, the turf they were trying to save took more than 20% injury from these treatments. That was a research plot, measured out and applied by people who do this for a living. So you can imagine a fellow going to his front yard with a coffee can and a bad mood. And I will say this plain because it matters up north. That Florida work was done on St. Augustine grass, and your bluegrass and fescue are a different plant in a different climate. Take the number as a warning about what sodium does, not as a measurement of your own yard, which means you spot treats. A shaker, never a spreader. Never broadcast it across the whole lawn, not once, not thinned out, not on a cloudy day when you think it can't hurt anything. Keep it off the flower beds and out of the vegetable garden, because sodium builds up in soil, and soil is slow to forgive. And check the label and the current guidance before you put that down. It's a food out of your own kitchen, and that is exactly why people get careless with it. So here's the way the old fellas actually did it, and it's about 10 minutes of your Saturday. Go out early while the dew is still sitting on the lawn, or wet the patch with a light spray from the hose. Not soaking, just damp. Pick a hot, clear day with no rain coming for 2 or 3 days behind it. Take something with holes in the lid. An old Parmesan shaker, a flour sifter, a mason jar with a nail hole punched in the top. Get down on one knee and dust the crabgrass until the leaves look like somebody spilled flour on them. Then get in the middle, the crown, right where all those fingers come out of the ground. That's the part that has to die. And that's the part everybody misses, because they're busy dusting the pretty spreading leaves. Now leave it be. Do not water it in. Rain in the next day or two washes the whole business off, and you start over. Come back in 2 days and look. Brown and crisp means it worked. Yellow and sulking means it's a bigger plant than you thought, and you go again, and be honest with yourself about what you're left with. A dead crabgrass plant leaves a bare spot the size of a dinner plate, and bare dirt is the exact thing crabgrass wants. We'll come back to that spot before we're done, because it turns out to be the most important dirt in your whole yard. Now, before we go on, I have to say something about the other kitchen tricks, because somebody watching this is already eyeing the round blue box of table salt. Don't. Salt kills crabgrass. Salt also kills the ground. Sodium chloride doesn't break down, and it doesn't rinse away easily. It wrecks the structure of the soil underneath, and the spot where you poured it can sit bald and hard for a year, sometimes 2, growing absolutely nothing. Folks pour salt on a crabgrass patch in July and then wonder all next spring why grass seed won't take there. The old groundskeepers had a rule that covered this whole family of tricks, which was to treat the problem and leave the rest of the yard out of it. That's why vinegar disappoints people the same way. It burns the tops off, and the roots send up new leaves inside of a week. And boiling water is fine on the crack in the driveway, but out in the middle of a lawn, it cooks every good root within a foot of where you poured it. All right, now the third thing, and this one changes how you think about crabgrass for the rest of your life. Crabgrass is annual. Every crabgrass plant in your yard right now is going to die this fall at the first hard frost, whether you ever touch it or not. It is not coming back. It cannot come back. There is no root down there waiting for spring. You are not fighting a plant neighbor. You are fighting a calendar. Because before it goes, it does the one thing it came here to do. According to the turf people at the University of Massachusetts, a single crabgrass plant can throw out somewhere between 150 and 700 branching stems and up to 150,000 seeds. One plant, one season. and those seeds drop into the top inch or two of your soil, and they sit there and they wait. So that crabgrass that shows up in the same spot by the driveway every June, year after year, like it's got your address written down, that's not the same plant coming back. That one's been dead for 9 months. That is the children of the plant you let go to seed last August, which is why the powder in the shaker was never going to be the answer by itself. It kills what you can see today. It does not touch what's already in the ground for next year, and it certainly doesn't stop the plants you missed from seeding out behind your back. So why has nobody at the garden center ever walked you down the aisle and pointed at a $2 box? 3 reasons, and not one of them is a conspiracy. First, nobody can own baking soda. It's been on American shelves since your great-grandmother was doing the washing. There's no patent on it, and there never will be. Not one company on earth makes a nickel when you use it. Second, and this one I find genuinely funny, there is money in it, but only if you change it. Somebody worked that out a long time ago. There's a United States patent number 6756341 for a weed killer made of sodium bicarbonate mixed with cinnamon and wheat flour and corn flour. That is baking soda with the spice rack stirred into it. You can't own the soda. You can own the recipe. And that spiced mixture is exactly the store product those Florida researchers put on their test plots. Third, a thing that works once does not sell twice. A bag of pre-emergent has to go down every single spring forever, or it quits working on you. That's not a scandal, that's just the business, and the business is what pays for the aisle, the display, and the advertisement that follows you around all spring. And here's the piece of it I like best. The reason you have crabgrass in your yard at all is that in 1849, the United States Patent Office brought it into this country on purpose as a forage crop for livestock. The Patent Office handed us the weed, and 170 odd years later, the only way anybody can sell you the cure is to patent a mixture. That isn't a conspiracy. That's just plain commerce doing what commerce does. The lawn was here a long time before the lawn store was. Did your dad or your grandpa have a lawn trick of his own? Put it in the comments below. That's exactly the kind of knowledge that gets lost when nobody writes it down. I read every single one. So, here is what actually ends crabgrass, and it's free. Right now, this week, every crabgrass plant in your yard is doing one job: making seed. Those little finger-shaped seed heads come up off the top of the plant in the back half of summer as the days start getting shorter, and they harden as they go. So move number 1, get after them now while that seed is still green and soft. Powder the young ones. For the big sprawling ones, wait for a rain and pull them by hand and get the crown up with it. Every single plant you take out before its seed hardens off is up to 150,000 seeds that never make it into your dirt. That's the whole ball game right there in the last 3 weeks of August and the first couple in September. Move number 2, and this is the one the old groundskeepers had over everybody. Raise your mower. Crabgrass seed needs 2 things to sprout. It needs light-hitting bare soil, and it needs that soil warm. Connecticut's agricultural station put the trigger at about 55 degrees in the top inch of the ground 4 or 5 days running. Tall, thick grass takes away both of those. It shades the dirt, and shaded dirt stays cooler. Brad Friesenberg, the turf specialist at the University of Missouri, put a number on how much that's worth. Going from 2.5 inches on the mower deck up to 3.5 inches cuts annual weed populations by as much as 80%. Same yard, same seed, already sitting in the ground. All you did was move a lever with your foot before you pulled the cord. And here's the trap, because mowing short feels like it ought to help. Crabgrass will make seed at 1/2 inch tall. 1/2 inch. You cannot cut it out of your lawn, and scalping doesn't starve it. It just opens the ground up and hands that seed the light it's been waiting on. Move number 3, water is deep and rare, One good long soak once or twice a week, and then leave the lawn alone until it tells you it's thirsty. Little sprinkles every evening after supper keep the top ½ inch of soil damp all summer, and damp bare soil is the nursery a crabgrass seed is looking for. That's the whole reason it comes up along the driveway and the sidewalk first, where the ground is warmest and the grass is thinnest. And move number 4, which is that dinner plate of bare dirt we left back there. Come the cool of September, rake it up, throw down seed, keep it damp until it takes. Every bare spot you leave open in the fall is a door standing wide open for next June. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you it'll be gone in a season. It won't. Those seeds stay alive in your soil for a few years, so this is a 2 or 3 year job. But the first year, you'll cut it back hard, and the second year, there's less seed in the ground and a thicker stand of grass sitting on top of it. And by the third year, folks start asking you what you're spraying. Nothing. You raised a lever, you watered on Sunday instead of every evening, and you spent 10 minutes in August with a $2 box. That's exactly the kind of thing the old fellas knew, written down plain in the old ways. 50 forgotten lawn secrets from America's greatest groundskeepers, with hardly a thing in it you have to buy. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera and point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you will enjoy the video right now on screen even more. I can assure you on that. Click it right now, my friend.